the North Sea holds its breath, like even the water is scared. On the shore, Thor grips Mjolnir and stares at the horizon. He's not hunting a cauldron. He's going to steal a yes from the giants. Beside him stands Tyr, one hand missing, the whole past still intact. The wound doesn't throb with pain, it throbs with memory. The real story is the blow Thor is about to land and the fate that steals it from him at the last second. It starts with a drunken promise made dead serious. Aegir, Lord of the Ocean, wants to host the gods, a feast so loud even the waves will sing. Ale, laughter, a rare truce. Problem is, in Asgard, they don't have the one thing a real feast requires, a cauldron big enough. Only one exists, just one. It belongs to Hymir, a giant who lives at the edge of the worlds, where the gods' rules turn into suggestions, and suggestions turn into snow. Bring it to me, Aegir says, and the sea will toast with you. And Thor, of course, hears the word impossible and takes it as a date. Thor and Tyr go together, not just for muscle, because this mission needs a key. Tyr knows Hymir too well. Hymir is his father, a giant of a father, cold as the fjord, heavy as a destiny you never chose. I'll handle the talking, Tyr says, as they cross fir forests that whisper names older than stone. Thor grins sideways. And if words don't hold, I've got a tool that does. Mjolnir taps his thigh, thunder in miniature. They walk until the land ends in water. A boat waits, dark wood, salt sunk deep into its grain. Thor grips the oars like he's taking the world by the throat. Tyr watches the sea, too calm. The kind of calm that isn't peace, it's restraint. And they row toward Hymir, toward a roof that doesn't like guests, toward a house where hospitality is a test, not a right. Hymir's home is a block of night wedged into the fjord. Smoke, iron, and something else, an air that says, my house, my rules. Inside, a woman greets them with gentle hands and stone-hard eyes. Tyr's mother. Keep your voices down, she whispers. Hymir's patience is as short as a winter day. Then Hymir enters, and the room seems to lose temperature. His gaze hits Thor and hardens into hate. I smell the Aesir, the gods of Asgard, he snarls, and my roof is no inn for stormbringers. The woman steps between them, the old law of bread and salt, guessed right. Hymir accepts it, but accepting isn't surrender. It's delaying the slap. I'll test you, Hymir says. And the first test arrives at dawn, with the sea as judge. Hymir drags a boat down and points it at the water. At dawn we fish, he growls. Thor's hands are already on the oars, but Hymir stops him with a look. Bait first. They need bait. Hymir points to his best bull, the kind worth 10 winters of hunting. Thor doesn't argue. He walks into the pasture and rips the bull's head off in one clean motion. Perfect, brutal, certain. Only then do they shove the boat into the sea. Thor rows, and the hull shoots forward like a spear. Hymir realizes this god doesn't know the meaning of slow. Thor ties the bull's head to the line and drops it into the depths. The cord vanishes, and the sea, just for a moment, holds its breath. Then, yank. The boat tilts, the planks groan. Tyr grips the rim with his living hand and feels the missing one like a warning. Strength always comes with a cost. Thor plants his feet, pulls. The veins in his neck turn into ropes, and the surface breaks. Green back, ancient weight. Teeth like fence posts, eyes wide in daylight. Jormungandr, the World Serpent, the living ring that coils around the earth. Time slows. Thor stands. Mjolnir flashes. One blow, just one, and the future could change shape. Thor wants to strike. He's ready. Hymir turns pale. Not because of Thor, because of what happens if that blow lands. Enough! Hymir screams, and in terror he cuts the line. The monster disappears. The sea seals shut with a whirlpool like a mouth. Thor doesn't explode, doesn't shout. He just breathes, like gods do when they refuse to confess disappointment. And it lands, heavy and quiet. This isn't victory or defeat. It's a debt. Back at the house, Hymir pretends it meant nothing, but his shadow gives him away. "Dinner," he mutters. "Then we'll see if your strength is harder than stone." A dark cup is brought in, heavy, slick as deep water. "Break my cup," Hymir orders. "No one ever has." Thor hurls it into a pillar. The pillar cracks. The cup stays whole. Hymir smiles. "So that's the god's strength?" Tyr's mother drifts close, barely a breath. The cup fears neither stone nor iron, but Hymir's skull is harder than this house. Thor picks up the cup, takes 2 steps, and brings it down on the giant's head. The sound is thunder trapped in a cave. Hymir's skull holds. The cup explodes into glittering shards. Silence. Hymir stares at the fragments like he's been robbed in his own hall. And now his gaze changes, not just hostility, fear wearing anger like a mask. Hymir pushes again. "Kill my cattle. 1 strike each." Thor steps outside. Mjolnir rises and falls. 2 strikes, 2 bodies. Then Hymir gives ground, barely. "You've passed my tests, but the cauldron stays here." Tyr stands. "That's why we came." Hymir's smile cuts sideways. "Take it if you can move it." They descend into the cave. The cauldron sleeps like a metal beast. Thick walls, a rim that bites the air, the scent of old ale and ocean. Tyr tries. Nothing. Thor sets his stance, inhales. Stone grinds on stone, a low, stubborn groan, and then the weight rises. Thor lifts it over his head, and as he walks, the handles rattle near his heels, like the cauldron itself is alive, counting his steps. Hymir follows them to the threshold, eyes narrowed. "You won't leave alive." Outside, the snow bites. Behind them, heavy footsteps, giants coming like a pack. Spears, stones, shouting. Tyr leads. The fjord is a blade of water. Rocks start to rain down, wide, wild throws meant to slow them. Thor runs with the cauldron overhead, then stops, sets it down for a heartbeat, turns and raises Mjolnir, then throws himself at the hunters. Blow after blow, giants crumple into the snow, and the fjord swallows their screams. Silence. No more stones. Then he lifts the weight again, and they hit the boat. They row. Below them, the sea laughs softly, because down there, somewhere, the serpent is still alive, and the debt is still unpaid.
They reach Aegir. The Ocean Lord sees the cauldron and smiles like a rising tide. He plants it in the center of his hall. The metal booms, almost like a gong that says, "Feast." The cauldron boils. Steam rolls up like good fog. The ale pours, bitter, sweet, alive. The gods drink, and for one night remember how to be together without turning everything into a contest. Aegir raises his cup to strength that knows how to take and how to stop.
Thor drinks. Tyr smiles. Someone whispers, "And the serpent?" Thor looks toward the water, glass smooth beyond the hall. "We'll meet again," he says, "but not today." And it all clicks into place. The real test wasn't breaking stone or lifting metal. It was staying alive long enough to pay the world back when the time finally comes.
You've just heard a journey that began as party planning and ended as a pact with fate. A cauldron stolen from giants, a serpent nearly struck, and a debt left open. So tell me this. When you've got the monster hanging from a single thread, do you pull until the end or let time decide? If you want more stories from the 9 worlds, subscribe and stay close. Aegir's sea is still thirsty, and we've still got stories to pour.